Hey, Tori.
Oh, hey, Melissa.
So, hey, everyone. This is Tori Cushing. She's going to be talking about conditional formatting in Excel today and showing you guys some tips and tricks on what to do. If you have any questions, please ask us on Google Plus or on Twitter, and we will talk to Tori at the end. And then, Tori, I'll let you take it from there.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to go straight into some screen sharing in a minute here. Basically, the idea behind conditional formatting is that you have your data and you have all the numbers there, and conditional formatting just helps you visualize those numbers even more. So whether it's like highlighting the cell with different colors or having little icons by it, it basically just gives you a quick look at the numbers, and it's like, oh, these ones are doing well, they're in green. These ones are not so good, they're in yellow. And then the ones that aren't doing well are in red. So that's basically the idea behind conditional formatting. Now we're just going to go into all the different options, because in Excel there are a whole bunch of options and it's a lot of fun to play with them. So I'm going to go straight into the screen sharing now. And here we go. Okay. Totally share the wrong screen. Woo! Okay, so now I am in Excel and the playground is open. So here is what you'll be learning. Here's the calculated data tab. I said before a million times that you should have a tab for data that you've already calculated and a tab for all your raw data. Just in case if anything goes wrong, then you can always come back to this and grab that data, because there are times where I mess with formulas and I blow up the entire sheet, almost like when you work on a website and you kind of blow everything up. Well, that same thing happens in Excel sometimes, so it's really helpful to have a raw data tab. So here's our kind of end result. I'm going to go to the example tab, because this is the one where I have everything kind of set up and ready to go. Just a little bit of background on this export. I just exported this from Google Analytics. It's just a landing page report, so I have my top 10 landing pages, and I have the impressions, the average positions, the clicks, and the changes of those for February and March. So it's basically just change or month. Yeah, so let's start by formatting this sheet. Number one thing that we always do is go into the View tab, and under the View tab, I deselect grid lines. Woohoo! Prettier already. Next thing I'm going to do is add in an image. Now, if you guys were here last week, we added in an image in Google Spreadsheets, and it was super easy because we could just add in a URL. And Excel kind of does a similar thing to that. Well, Microsoft kind of got a little bit possessive with this option. They say that they have an option for online pictures, and it's right up here. But it's kind of online pictures if you're buddy-buddy with Microsoft. So, you have your clip art, you have the Bing image search, which I don't use. You could either upload it from your Facebook or from your Drive. So if you're logged into your Microsoft account, which is a newer option in 2013, I think, in 2010, then you can go and grab your images from there. Honestly, it's kind of a hassle, so what I do is under the Insert tab, I just click on Pictures. And here I can insert it from a file. So I'm going to grab my header image, and here it is, all ginormous. To rescale this and keep the scaling, it's similar to what you do in Photoshop. I just grabbed one of these boundary boxes in the bottom right-hand corner and held down the Shift key and dragged it down. Ta-da! And then you can reposition it. Something that I didn't go over that I've gone over in other tutorials is that I added in one column of padding over here. So column A, I just did this by right-clicking and inserting, and then scaling it down a little bit. That just adds a little bit of padding. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I already had it in there. The next thing I'm going to do is insert a table. So I'm going to add a little bit of padding here too, just because I like everything to be kind of spaced out well. So I'm going to do this by I can either just place my cursor inside this data set and go up to Insert tab and click on Table. And then I'm going to change the formatting to orange, or I could have selected all the data and then done the exact same thing. So you have two options. These automatically kind of scale these so that you get the entire, I guess, header inside of it. I'm going to scale these down a little bit because it was getting a little overbearing. You can also go up into this right-hand corner. I've gone over this before, but just formatting tables in Excel. And this is all under the design tab. So I'm going to make this just kind of relaxed design. There was a little bit too much orange in that last one. No offense to Authority Labs, it's just a bit much. Okay, so next I'm going to add in my title. So I'm just going to copy this over just so I don't have to type it all out again. I would say just as a general rule in Excel, copy and paste as much as you can. I use Control-C and then Control-V all day long. So I would say that's kind of a simple way to doing that. I see people kind of like select the cells and right-click and hit copy and then right-click and hit paste. But it takes longer. I would say definitely anytime you can get keyboard shortcuts, go ahead and do that because it really, really helps. You work a lot more quickly and efficiently. Okay, I love the orange too. Okay, I'm watching the live Twitter feed. We love the orange. Okay, moving on. So now to get more orange, I'm going to go to the impressions, and I'm going to just start off by selecting this data. So I just dragged the cell, and with one click, I just dragged it all the way down. So now to get to the conditional formatting, which is like the super exciting part, I'm going to go up into the Home tab. And under the Home tab, I'm going to go to Styles. And here is Conditional Formatting. Woohoo! I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go under the Data Bars option. So you have two different options here, and then you also have more roles, so you can format it even more. But you have, basically, you can have a gradient fill or a solid fill. Gradient fill looks kind of cool at first, but it has that weird outlining box around it, and I end up kind of not really being that much of a fan of it. It's kind of distracting. So I usually go with the solid fill. So I'm going to go ahead and click the solid fill. They don't have orange on here. So what I'm going to do is select the solid fill, but I'm going to go back in. And you really want to get comfortable with this interface in the conditional formatting because you have all these different rules. So I'm going to go under Manage Rules. So I just went to Conditional Formatting, Manage Rules. And here is this rule right here. So this, you can see that this navy blue is right over here. This is the rule that we're talking about. And here is this very intimidating editing rule formatting box. All you got to do right now is select this color and change it to orange. There we go. And you can hit apply to see your changes right then, and then hit OK to be finished with the changes. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is go over to the positioning, and I'm going to get rid of all these decimal places because they're kind of ridiculous. So to do this, I just select my data, and I'm under the Home tab, and under the Numbers option, I can just hit this little icon right here that says Decrease Decimal Places. Or I can pop out the box, and I can go ahead and decrease the decimal places here by going under Number and Decimal Places and bumping it down to 0. So those are just two options. I always like to give multiple options because there are really just a ton of ways to do things in Excel, and it's really good to have an idea that you can do things multiple ways and kind of get in that mindset because it opens up a lot more options for you later. So like keyboard shortcuts, you know, excuse me, shortcuts in the header, or just actually doing it the long, drawn-out way. Okay, so here I'm going to give these different gradient colors. So I'm going to start by just selecting the data, and I'm going to go under Color Scales. So I went to Conditional Formatting, and I'm under Color Scales. And here I have all these different little presets. I'm going to pick the one that has yellow, green, and red. So this is really cool. You can see that it's already kind of telling me that, you know, some data is doing better than others. So the 65 is in green, the 7 is in red. The only problem with this is that Excel doesn't know that this is my average position in Google. So I want to change this. So I want to change it so that 7, my position in Google for the number 7, is actually the best one, so green, and 65 is probably the worst. So to do this, I'm going to go back to Manage Rules. So I'm going to go under Conditional Formatting, and I'm going to go to the Manage Rules, and I'm going to double-click on this Format option. And all I have to do here is change this to green and this to red. So I just changed the lowest value to say that it's green, it's good. The lowest value is great. The highest value isn't doing so hot. and then hit apply. Okay, so they're changed. So I can do that same thing by over here. So I can just go to conditional formatting, color scales, go right here, manage rules, and change it again. I can go through all those steps, or I can go ahead and clear this. And this brings up a really good point. I can go ahead and select these and hit the Format Painter. Now, if you guys were here last week, I went a little bit over the Format Painter in Google Spreadsheets. It's super awesome. I would say take advantage of it completely. It even has these little instructions, so if you forget how to use it, it says number 1, number 2, number 3. It tells you exactly how to use it. What I'm going to do is just select my data, hit the Format Painter, and select the data right next to it. And there you go. You have all the rules that we just changed totally copied over to your data, and you can see that it even completely customizes it. So it didn't just copy over the colors, it copied over the conditional formatting. So you can see that 61, since it's in position 61, it's a little bit less red than the other one. So you can see that it copied over that 6 is green, 7 is green, and that the higher numbers are in red. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is take the percentage change. To do this, it's just a quick formula. It's really, really simple. It's just like how you used to take the average change in grade school. But for those of you who forget, I'm just going to start by putting in an equal sign. I'm going to put in a parentheses. That just says that, it's just exactly like algebra. I'm going to have 2 parentheses, and then just so that I can divide both numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. Basically, I'm going to select February's average position. So I'm just going to select the cell, hit the minus sign, select March's average position, close those parentheses, and then divide it by March. So it's just like taking the change formula, but you're just basically doing it in Excel, and you're just selecting these different cells. So you have February minus March divided by March. That's just the change formula. Okay, so now you get these really intimidating numbers. What you're going to do is just select these numbers and go up into your number option and select percentage. So now you have the percent change. Woo! Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete some of these decimals because they're a little bit, crazy. And I'm going to bring this back a little bit. Okay, so here you can see that you have all these different percent changes, and you have some that are negative and some that are positive. So a really cool conditional formatting visualization for this is if you go under conditional formatting and you select data bars. So this is the same data bar. These are the same data bars that we did over in the February impressions. But if you select them again, they go positive and negative. How freaking cool is that? So you have this line down the middle, and over here you have the negative options, and over here you have the positive ones. How cool! Okay, so I think this is super pretty. It kind of just shows you exactly how well your data is doing. You can also manage the rules and change the color of it. So I'm going to go with a little bit of a more vibrant blue usually. I usually do. But, again, everything is customizable. So one option here, so you have these awesome data bars, and you're saying that these are the percent changes that are in the negatives. You can see that because they're red and they're on the negative side, and here are the positive. But the problem is that you're kind of getting in the way of these numbers. So one option that you have is that you can go ahead and go in under Manage Rules. So I'm going to go straight back into the Managing Rules, and I have this option to only show the data bar. This is a little checkbox right here to only show the data bar. I'm going to go ahead and select that just as kind of like a preview for you guys. Hit OK and apply. Magic, the numbers are gone. But they're not actually gone, they're just hidden. It's like you're hiding a tab or just hiding something in Excel. And the numbers are still there, so you can still see up here in the formula bar that we still have our formula. But it's just showing you that, hey, I'm just going to look at the data bars. So that's just a really cool option, just to show you at like a quick look if you just want to see how well your positions are doing. So let's say that like the tour page is in the positive, but the 9 ways to discover e-commerce has kind of gone in the negative over this past month. So super cool option. You can also go ahead and select those numbers and put them in like the column next to it if you still want those numbers there. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it like this just as an example. Okay, moving on. The next thing we're going to go onto is icons. They're super cool looking. I'm going to go back into conditional formatting and go to icon sets. And you have all these different little cartoony, adorable icons. And they are so much fun to play with. I have spent more time than I would like to admit in the icons area. But right now I'm just going to go under ratings, and you have all these different ratings. You could be all like Mario style with it and have these stars. You could be, black and white pie, whatever you want to have. I'm going to go ahead and select the 4 rates. So it's kind of like AT&T raising the bar, And here you can just get a quick look on kind of like which of your clicks are doing best. So you can see that over here it has like the top scales. So you can see that, oh, these 2 are doing really, really well, or these 3 are doing really well. So just at a quick glance, you can see how well those are doing. And it's super easy to do, super, super easy. All you have to do is select the data, go into conditional formatting, icon sets, and select those little AT&T raising the bars. So lots of fun. Next, we're going to do another percentage change formula. So super simple. You hit the enter key, and you put in a parentheses, and you take the first value, and you subtract it by the second value, and close that parentheses, and divide it by the second value. Ta-da! So now you get those ugly numbers again. I'm going to go ahead and select these. You can do this by either selecting the whole row by clicking on this little black arrow. You can see that it becomes a black arrow at the top of the column, and you can select all those numbers, or you can just drag it and select those. Or you could even actually go into the cell and hit Control-Shift down arrow and select all those. Super, super awesome. You have so many options in Excel to do basically anything you want. But right now I'm just going to go ahead and go back up into the numbers options and hit the percentage. And again, I'm just going to knock back those decimal places 2 spots. Okay, so now I have the percentages. Woohoo! I'm going to go back over here just as kind of like a reference for myself. Next thing I'm going to do is add in more icons. So under conditional formatting in the icon sets, I can add in icons right here. So I have all these different arrow options. I have green and red and yellow, and I'm just going to select these. So just because we're kind of running low on time and I do want to get to questions, that's just kind of an example. So don't exactly take this data as I'm going to go ahead and make this exact data, because if you used all of these in one report, it would kind of overload your client a little bit, because it's like, oh my gosh, colors and numbers and pretty things. So I would say use it more as I'm going to highlight this data and say that right now I'm going to really draw attention to this, and so I'm going to use this conditional formatting and maybe this conditional formatting. But I would say maybe not use all of them all at once, because it could be a little bit overwhelming. But yeah, feel free to go ahead and play. I'm also going to have a complete wrap-up review of this tutorial and give you guys this Excel sheet so you can play with it on your own. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Woo! Okay, and I'm back.
Okay, cool. So the fabulous Kevin Dory wants to know, will this work on Macs as well, or just a PC?
Yes, it does work on Macs. I'm almost 100% positive. And I'm actually going to release an Excel 103, so another Excel 101 blog post specifically on conditional formatting for Macs. So you can stay tuned for that. I am trying to get more 101 Wednesdays for Mac and Excel, because it's so frustrating how much different it is. But yeah, I would say that I'll double check on that, and I'll reply to you directly, Kevin. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that you still have all the options in Excel.
Cool. Okay, so I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Did you learn all of this from your mother, or did you have resources where you learned Excel stuff that you can tell people about?
Okay, so yes and no. A lot of it I learned from her. I started learning Excel at 15 or 16 or something like that, and it was literally just us sitting on her bed oh, look at this cool thing and look at this cool thing. And at first I was honestly Yeah, it's super awesome, Mom. Really, I'm so excited about this. But I just cared about, her. So I was like, yeah, totally, Excel. But then as the years went on and as I realized how much I could actually do and manipulate the data in it, I just started geeking out and like converting and tweaking into this total Excel awesome clone. So a lot of it is from Annie Cushing. If you're not following her on Twitter, you need to. She's also known as Analytics. So definitely check her website out. It's analytics.com. She goes into like some crazy, awesome, weird Excel things and dashboards that are so cool. So yeah, a lot of it learned from her. A lot of it I also learned from Mr. Excel. He has a whole bunch of tutorials on YouTube. So a whole bunch of tutorials from like very beginner tutorials to like the more advanced stuff where like you get really crazy with all the formulas and VLOOKUPs and pivot tables and things that you're maybe not even getting what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I would say definitely for that. I just got the confirmed that conditional formatting totally works in Mac too. So that's the thing. And I got that from my mom, Analytics, Annie Cushing. But yeah, so I would say Mr. Excel, Annie Cushing, Analytics. There are a few others that I can post in the wrap-up posts that aren't totally coming to mind. And yeah, I would say that. A lot of it, I watched a lot of YouTube videos because I'm just kind of like the screencast video watcher kind of person because I'm a visual learner, so I just like watched a lot of those.
Cool.
Yeah.
So for people who are totally intimidated, they just have to play with the software, right?
Yes. Yes. So I would say like start off with like a really simple data set. I'm talking like dog 1 2 3 4 2 6 26 7. Like really simple. And just kind of play from there. So you don't need to even go into like, here I'm going to export all this stuff from Google Analytics and try to analyze it, and I'm overwhelmed and there are too many numbers and you have a panic attack. I would just say start off with like something super simple. Just work on like creating a table and throwing in those data sets, in those like little icons, like do things that kind of catch your eye. So like make it as colorful as you like. Get rid of all your grid lines. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I started.
Cool. Okay, so in 2 weeks we'll be back again. Might not have an idea yet, but we're just going to tell the audience that Tori will be back again in 2 weeks. If you all have any suggestions or ideas for Tori, find her on Twitter at Tori Cushing. And you're going to have an updated post on Authority Labs soon.
Yes.
So everybody can catch up, and this will be on YouTube.
Yes.
And that's great. So, okay, well, thank you, Tori.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, if anybody has any suggestions on, I mean, even if you think it's super simple, like a really super simple idea, and you're like, you know what, I've just been struggling with how to do a sum formula in Excel forever, and can you just do a screencast on it? I would love to do that for you. I could cover multiple topics. So if you have, like, I just need to learn how to do a sum formula, but then I could also cover, like, other basic formulas. So yeah, just feel free to tweet at me or at Authority Labs and let us know what you want.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, and thank you for everybody that watched the video today, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Okay, see ya. Bye.